Alright. So here was the number one mistake that students made on last night's homework. Was this. Most students put no. This is not a monomial. But it is a monomial. Your coefficient can be negative. The exponents is what you're looking at to determine if it is a exponents is what you're looking at. Yes. So this would have a coefficient of -2. It would have a variable of x, y, and it would have a degree of 3. So yes, this would be a monomial. That was the number one mistake. All right. So today, we're talking about factoring monomials. So factoring. We're breaking this down into the smallest numbers or prime numbers. All prime numbers. So first thing we got to do is review prime numbers. Number one is not prime or composite. It's a special. So, prime numbers have only two factors, one and themselves. So the first prime number is 2, then comes 3, then 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 7 is 9 times 3, 29 would be the next one, 31. Alright, so that, I would suggest that you memorize your prime numbers at least through 31. We'll make this much, much easier because we're wanting to come up with the prime factorization. Now this is going to help us when we get next week when we start factoring binomials and trinomials and all that. So we're getting into real Algebra 3 stuff. We're factoring, we're going to add, subtract, we'll be doing some division. So we're on into real Algebra 3. So, we've got to be able to find our prime factors when we're factoring binomials and above. So we're going to start with factoring of monomials. You need to have this list written down. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 29, 31. And then 37. That'll be all the prime numbers between 1 and 40. All right. So let's look at the first problem. All right. I'll go back to it. All right, so our first problem is 18. So we're going to start at 18x squared. Alright, so let's start. Look at our list of prime numbers. First one is 2. Can 18 be divided by 2? Yes. So that's 9x squared. Now look at my 9. 3. So 3 and 3x squared. Because you're looking at this. So 2 times 9 is 18. So we're wanting to make the number above it. So 3 times 3 is 9. Alright, so what can I multiply to get 3? 1 times 3. So you're going to put your 3 and 1. Because we're trying to get the prime factorization. Now, I still have an x squared. How do I get x squared? Not by 1, but by x. So I know that x times x times x gives me 1x squared.
I thought. Okay.
Hold on. Now, how do I multiply to get x? X times 1. When the only thing you have at the bottom is a 1, you're finished with your prime factorization. So the prime factors of 18x squared is 2 times 3 times 3 times x times x. So that's your prime factorization. So when you would write it out, you would write 2 times 3 times 3 times x times x. That would be your answer. When you get down to where all you have left is 1, you're done.
Okay.
So your whole goal, you're multiplying this together to get the number above. Alright, let's look at the next one. So 48 x squared y to the 5th. So I'm going to start with 48 x squared y to the 5th. Is 48 divisible by 2? Yes. So 2 times 24 x squared y to the 5th. Now, is 24 divisible by 2? Yes. So you're wanting to use just prime numbers on this side. This side here. You're dividing by prime numbers only. Alright, so 2. 2 times what is 24? 12. X squared y to the 5th. Alright? Is 12 divisible by 2? 2. 2 times 6. X squared y to the 5th. Now, will 2 divide into 6? So 2 times 3, x squared y to the 5th.
That's good, man.
Yes?
Is Makaja very well in class?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please send us to the principal's office?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now, 3. How do I multiply to get 3? 3 times 1. So 3 times 1. But I still have my variables. X squared y to the 5th.
And then this one you do them X's and stuff.
And this is when you start breaking off your x's. Alright. So x squared y to the fifth can be divided by x. So that leaves x, y to the fifth. So now what do I divide by?
Did you say so?
X again. Y to the fifth. So now I have y to the fifth. What am I dividing by? Y. So I have y to the fifth. I'm dividing by y. So y and y to the fourth. Y third.
Shoot. I don't like that. That's too much.
And then y times 1. It may seem like a lot of writing, but guys, it's a 100% fail-safe way to get the right answer for prime factoring.
Why are you putting that right there on top?
Because that was a carryover from this one. So this would be an x.
But you got it twice.
That's, yeah, because this piece right here, yeah, that's gone. So I can carry over. Alright, so my prime factorization for 48x squared y to the fifth is right here. Yep, that's it. Now, I promise when you're having to factor polynomials, knowing how to do this is going to come in handy. Alright, so let's look at another one. Alright, let's look at another problem. 36x squared y. Alright. $36x squared y. Start with 2. 36 divided by 2. 18. Alright, 18 divided by 2. Can 9 be divided by 2?
No, 3.
So it's got to be 3. So 3 times 3. 3 divided by 3? So 3, 1, x squared y. Now what can I divide it by? X. Now what can I divide it by? X. Now what? Y times 1. So what's the prime factorization of 36x squared y? That would be your answer. Alright. Any questions? Anybody need to see another example? Alright. Alright, so let's look at,
Is there gonna be any negative?
no, not on today's assignment. So let's say we do, oh, yeah, that'll work. 39. Alright, so does 2 divide into 39? No. Does 3 divide into 39? So 3 times what is 39? 3 times 13. X, Y squared. Alright, so now how do I multiply to get 13? 13 times 1, because that was your prime number. So 13, 1, x, y squared. Now what can I divide out of it? X. So I have a y squared. Now what can I divide out? So y times y gives me y squared. Now what can I divide out? So y times what gives me y? 1. So what's my prime factorization? 3 times 13 times x times y times y. Yes, sir.
So do we leave it like that, or do you want us to write out 3 times 13 times 6?
You can leave it like that,
Okay.
except for Ashton. Alright. Any more questions? So the whole thing is you want this to multiply to be this. Then you want the second one to multiply to give you that number.
This is a whole lot of writing.
It is more writing than what you're used to doing, but if you can see it like this, you're going to get it right versus trying to see it horizontal, like it's normally taught. This to me just makes it much, much easier to see. Because right here's your answer. And you're going to always stop. You're not going to stop until you have it done. So this piece right here is your greatest common factor. Or that's, alright. It's actually not your greatest common factor, it's the prime factorization, which we will use that when we use this method to find the greatest common factor. It just makes it easier. Alright, your homework. You got about 10 minutes, give or take. It's 10 problems. Alright, it's a worksheet, all 10 problems. Show your work.
It's the last day we doing homework.
Not necessarily. Oh my gosh. It didn't record.
You shut up and go back to sleep.
It says it is. There it did.